Good morning. Welcome to This Is Not on Purpose. So, before we start, I just want to give a shout out to Lids for hooking me up with this awesome lid and this awesome coffee cup, which I made. So, DM if you need some merch, I'll gladly hook you up. Welcome to episode 7. Okay. To this episode, we're talking about interviews and things like that. Okay. So, let's get into it, shall we? The interview. There's a version of yourself you bring to job interviews, right? You're polished, controlled, carefully edited, right? And then there's your body, which does not care about resumes. First interview, right? I remember clearly, I remember sitting across from someone who had already decided, not out loud, not officially, right? But you could feel it. Like you walk in the room, you can feel like the body language, the tension, right? The ticket happened early, a sound, a movement, nothing disruptive, right? Nothing compared to my normal shenanigans. But everything changed. Their posture shifted. The eyes stopped meeting mine. The questions sped up. I answered perfectly. It didn't matter because professionalism isn't just about competence, right? It's about appearance, uncomplicated. Here's the rule no one says out loud. Workplaces are built for bodies that behave, right? You sit still, control yourself, don't interrupt, don't draw attention, right? If your nervous system doesn't follow those rules, you become a liability before you become a person, right? Not because you can't do the job, but because you make people uncomfortable. You know, uh, then you go, you're at work, and now you have your meetings. Meetings are quiet threats, right? Rooms where everybody's pretending not to notice each other, rooms where silence is currency. I've sat in meetings suppressing tics so hard I stopped hearing what was being said. Jaw clenching, shoulders locked, breathing shallow, not contributing, not thinking, just surviving in the room. And then you leave the room exhausted, right? Because you suppressed your tics. And someone says, "You're pretty quiet in there," as if the silence was a choice. Like, my condition. Why are you being a bunch of idiots? You know what I mean? There's something different about authority. Teachers, managers, supervisors, people who can decide if you're difficult, right? If you have authority, figures speaking slowly to me, carefully, like I might not understand, right? I've had others pretend nothing was happening until it inconvenienced them, right? And once authority decides you're a problem, every take becomes evidence. Oh, you're not paying attention. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Things like that, right? Then you got to consider the performance of capability. So you perform, you over prepare, over deliver, over function, becoming indispensable to offset being difficult, right? To work harder than everyone else. Not for the praise, but for permission. Permission to stay, to take up space, permission to not be asked to be questioned, right? There's not ambition. That's fear with a paycheck, right? I mean, there's always a breaking point, right? Mine didn't come from cruelty. It came from politeness, from being told, you're just not sure, we're just not sure you're the right fit, right? Feedback never mentions Tourette's, but circles it like smoke, distraction, culture, professionalism, professional presence. Words that mean we noticed, we minded, but we won't say it out loud because, we don't want to offend, things like that, right? There comes a point, right? But like, here's the part that's hard to admit. You start blaming yourself. Like, if I could control it better, if I could hide it more, if I could be less, you start shrinking your attention, your voice, your visibility. Not because you lack confidence, right? But it's because confidence doesn't protect you from the bias, right? I mean, it it, it doesn't protect you. It's that simple, right? We love the idea that hard work wins. You know, you go say bust your ass every day. Oh, good job, good job, good job. But meant only works, but merit only works if the system was built with you in mind. If your body breaks the illusion of control, you pay for it quietly, legally, politely. Then, there comes a moment where I stopped apologizing at work. You know, there's a moment where something snapped. I'm not like, oh my God, you're going to freak out, or nothing like that, right? Not anger, not defiance, just clarity, right? I realized I could spend my life trying to earn effort, or I could just stop apologize for something I didn't choose. It didn't make work easier, but it made it honest, right? So, what employers, right? If you guys are watching this video and listening, what do I want you to hear? If you manage people, listen carefully. Difference is not dysfunction. Discomfort is not disruption. Visibility is not incompetence. And professionalism should never require somebody to disappear. Okay? So, in closing, if you're listening and work has made you feel smaller, not because you lack ability, but because the room wasn't built for you, it's because the room wasn't built for you. Okay? We'd never apologize for who you are. Next episode, we're going to talk about anger, the kind you're not supposed to have, the kind that builds quietly, and what happens when it finally has somewhere to go. This is not on purpose. None of this, not the bias, not the silence, not the cost, was ever on purpose. Thanks for staying, and stay strong. Now, I just want to comment on something that's happened recently. If any of my viewers have watched the BAFTAs, if you know what that is, it's like the Academy Awards for British Film and Television. Okay, so there's a movie called I Swear. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it is a fantastic piece of film. It's amazing. It's about this guy named John Davidson. He was diagnosed with Tourette's when he was 12 years old in the 80s. Okay, and the film's about him growing up, his struggles, how he dealt with it, how he turned his condition into a learning tool where he, advocates for people with Tourette's and educates people, things like that. And end of the day, the guy earns an MBE from the Queen, right? So this film is nominated at the BAFTAs. And so logically, the guy, John Davison's in the crowd, right? So most people, if you know what Tourette's is, it's a neurological disorder, and a lot of the tics are involuntary, and you can't control what you say and what you do. So, two presenters come up, Michael B. Jordan and some other guy, I can't remember his name, and they are, black presenters. So, in the audience are presenting the first award of the night, and John Davison yells out the N word. In previous interviews, he's expressed that's what he yells out when he's nervous, things like that. It's not being meant to be racial in any way, shape, or form. It's just what he yells. So this was yelled out, and then there was a couple of other times where he at one point yelled out boring and then told some lady to F off, right? And then because feeling embarrassed, he decided, I'm going to leave voluntarily. So he left, right? And after this outburst, the host had said, hey, you guys might have heard some things. It's involuntary. We apologize if anybody was offended. And then the next day, because this happened on a Sunday, right? The next day, the social media, the news, entertainment, whatever, were going off on about it, right? And there was like one celebrity, Jamie Foxx, was going on about how, oh, your involuntary tick made you say that, unacceptable. Like, if you don't fully understand what Tourette's is, or what it means to have it, or any of that kind of thing, go educate yourself. For the love of God, yeah. He went there and he said the M word on purpose. Are you kidding me right now? Did you not watch the documentary? Do you not understand it? Like, you want to educate people? If you're a celebrity and you have this status where you're like, oh, I'm a celebrity, people listen to me, I have a kabillion followers, then educate people. Educate people. Don't sit there and be like, oh, what you said was wrong. You know, you shouldn't have said that. Educate yourself for the love of God. But yeah, rant over. Anyway, looking forward to the next episode. See you all later. This was not on purpose.